Let's chat to Orly Goldschmidt, spokesperson of the Israeli embassy here in London. It's great to see you again. Thanks for taking the time to join us. Are you at war with Iran now?
So, as our president said yesterday, what Iran has done on Saturday night was launching a war against Israel. They have sent over 300 missiles, ballistic missiles, drone, cruise drones. So, you know, I can tell you from Israelis who were at that moment in Jerusalem and everywhere in Israel, you have to imagine, we understand, we hear that the Iranians have sent missiles over Israel. We know that it will take a few hours to reach Israel, but we don't know where it's going to reach, to which places. And people are just sitting and waiting. And it was like an apocalyptic movie, you know, to see and wait for those drones to arrive and hope that they wouldn't kill anyone. My mom had to rush to the shelter in the middle of the night, and so did millions of Israelis. So it was a really frightening moment for us. And we had to defend ourselves thanks to our friends and allies who helped us, the Americans, the Britons, and others. We were able to thwart 99% of those attacks.
It was retaliation, Iran says, for what happened in Damascus, Syria, where you struck their sovereign territory.
Well, Iran says many things. Iran, for the last 45 years, have been trying to attack Israel through their proxies, through Hezbollah, through Hamas, through the Houthis as well. And Iran sees Israel as a Western country that needs to be destroyed, and they will do so, try to do so all along, as long as the IRGC, the Iranian regime, is there in place. We have to remember that this Iranian regime is the same regime that killed women like Mahsa Amini a few years ago. It's the same regime that hangs LGBT people in the streets of Tehran. It's the same regime that gives weapons to Russia and to arm Russia against Ukraine. So that's the regime we're talking about at the moment.
Why did you feel it necessary to flatten the embassy in Damascus?
So we didn't flatten anything. The Iranians are saying that Israel has bombed a building, an official building, but that's not true. And by the way, that building was not a consulate or anything like that. It was a building near a consulate, and I can assure you that the people within that building at the moment were not dealing with visa applications or passports. They were IRGC high members whose only goal was to murder Jews and Israelis. So
you did do it?
I'm not saying we did it. I'm saying that
you are saying you did it?
No, I haven't said that, and I'm not going to comment on that. Whoever did that in order to defend innocent people around the world, because IRGC's goal is to threaten the stability in the Middle East, to threaten the stability around the world. I can give you some examples. In 1994, their proxies had bombed a Jewish cultural center in Argentina. In 2012, they have bombed a bus full of Jews in Bulgaria. And not later than last year, MI5 said that they have thwarted in UK soil Iranian threats. So we have to take the Iranian threats seriously.
The world leaders are calling for restraint from Israel. Will you listen to them?
We are listening very carefully to our allies. We're taking what they're saying into consideration, but at the end of the day, we will have to defend ourselves against this Iranian threat. And I'm sure you'd understand.
What does that look like? What does the next level of defense look like?
I'm not going to comment on what Israel's response is going to look like. I can tell you that they are discussing all the options, and the War Cabinet will decide when it's a good time to defend themselves and not revenge, because we're not in the business of revenge, but we want to make sure that they are deterred. What happened on Saturday cannot happen on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. We have to understand that it's not a new normal that can happen in the Middle East. We have to make sure that the Iranians understand and they are deterred.
Take the win, says President Biden. Just leave it at that now.
So, like I said, we are discussing with our allies. At the end of the day, Israel is a sovereign country, and we will do whatever is best for our protection. I'm sure every country, the Americans, the Britons, would have done the same for their own countries if they had an Iranian regime next door with their proxies trying to annihilate the only Jewish country.
Our Foreign Secretary, as I'm sure you heard just a moment or two ago, basically told me that he doesn't feel that your Prime Minister has sound judgment. Why is he wrong?
I have to say, when Iran attacked Israel on Saturday, I can assure you that they didn't care who our Prime Minister is. All they want is to annihilate the Jewish state, and we will not let that happen, no matter who our Prime Minister is. So
you did that with the help of your allies, and
of course,
also some significant warning beforehand. Your allies are now saying, take the win.
Like I said, we will discuss with our allies. We may not agree at the end of the day, but we are not going to do anything that will put Israel in danger. And if we don't deter the Iranians, they can start sending missiles over in the next week or the week after. We can't let that happen. And we have to understand, when we deter Iran from firing missiles over to Israel, we deter Iran from firing missiles over to the whole Middle East, from destabilizing the Middle East. We are in seeking for stability and peace in the Middle East, unlike the Iranians and their proxies.
A member of your war cabinet quoted in this morning's newspapers saying that a response will come within 48 hours. Is that your understanding?
I cannot comment on that. Like I said, we're not going to explain to the Iranians or to the world when the Israeli response will happen, but it will be on the right time at the right moment.
In the meantime, what's happening in Gaza?
So, like the foreign minister just said, Israel has opened lots of areas to float the Gaza Strip.
And made bad judgment, he said.
He said that we have. Opened the borders in order to bring humanitarian aid, more humanitarian aid. There was always humanitarian aid coming in, but now there is even more. I have to remind you, and I know it's important for you as well, we still have 133 hostages in Gaza. Many of them are being seriously maltreated. Some women, for sure, are being raped constantly. So we must do everything we can in order to bring our hostages back. I want to remind also your audience that for the 5th time in a row, Hamas had rejected the offer that we put on the table to exchange our hostages against criminals that are in our prisons. They have rejected it. They are not interested in the end of the conflict, but we need to bring our hostages back, and we will.
It's good to see you, Orly. Thank you very much
for
taking the time.